Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Love to Live Healthy show. I'm Josephine Fitzpatrick, author of Cheat Day Rules. I'm a weight loss nutrition specialist for over 15 years, and I work with thousands of clients all over the world. I own Innovation Healthy Market at 8025 Jericho Turnpike, Woodbury, New York, where for the last 12 years we sell hundreds of prepared meals and snacks. We are open to the public 7 days a week. You do not have to be a client to shop in our store. We have customers from all over Long Island visit our store every day, and we ship tri-state. We also offer free Long Island delivery every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and we hand deliver to New York City every Tuesday. We are also on Uber Eats 7 days a week. So if you're looking to lose weight or just eat healthy, come and visit our store. Everything is made fresh daily, and we carry everything from high protein, low carb, gluten-free, sugar-free, plant-based vegan, keto, and our famous detox. Someone is always available to help you at the store. They will hold your hand to get you what you want, so please do not hesitate to ask them when you walk in. For more information on our store, deliveries, shopping, podcast, and weight loss, visit our website, innovationhealthymarket.com, or check out our Instagram at Innovation Weight Loss. Today I'm here with Jake Fitzpatrick. Good morning, Jake.
Good morning.
Today's episode is on gluten-free, dairy-free, fat-free, sugar-free, keto. Are any of these healthier, and do they help you lose weight faster? Which is funny since we sell them all. But we make the healthiest version of them for the public because that's what they want. But does it help you lose weight?
Well, I think you said the key thing, too, because we make a healthier version.
Mm-hmm.
It's always good to remember there's always a healthier alternative, always a healthier version of anything, including gluten-free. There's a lot of gluten-free products that you can get, but they're filled with all these additives to make them seem like the real thing, like oils, all different types of, oils, butters, eggs, and they do that so then they actually, like a cookie. If you have a gluten-free cookie, that you buy from Stop and Shop or anything, it's always funny to me when I pick those things up and I see it's like 700 calories. And I'm like, I thought I was being gluten-free. I thought I was doing the right thing. But you always got to check because the additives that they're putting in them to make them seem like the real thing is all the oils, all the butters, all the things that you can have if you're on a gluten-free diet. They're just not good to have.
Exactly. That's so true. Such a good point. So, yeah, definitely the answer is no. It definitely, you will not lose weight faster. If anything, and I know a lot of people when it comes to like weight, almost everyone that is either gluten-free or keto, they tend to have more issues than, someone who's not on it. And I always say, like, listen, if you're not dairy-free, if you don't need to be dairy-free, like you're not lactose intolerant, if you don't need to be gluten-free, like unless you're celiac, you shouldn't need to be gluten-free. Don't do it because it's like anything else. When you take these things out of your diet, once you put them back in, you're going to blow up.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And that's a big thing with the keto.
Yeah. And the thing is, like everyone always assumes, like, it's probably 1 out of 10 people that I meet in the store. One of them has actually celiac.
Yeah, right.
And it's everybody else is just,
I'm
just gluten.
But it's sensitive.
The new term today is gluten tolerable.
Yeah.
Because everybody's trying to be knowledgeable of putting gluten in themselves. Mm-hmm. But it's funny how everyone always assumes that if they do follow the plans that are fat-free, gluten-free, dairy-free, then they're doing the right thing and being healthier, quote unquote, by doing so. Like you said, this is a common misconception because it's not as beneficial as people think to follow these plans unless you need to because of health implications like celiac or diabetes.
And that doesn't mean, if you're celiac, okay, that's like you should be gluten-free. There's no doubt about it. It's when your body attacks itself. It attacks its organs. So you have to. If you're diabetic, you have to be sugar-free. Okay, that makes sense, right?
Absolutely.
If you are lactose intolerant, you're dairy-free.
Yep.
But if you're not these things and you're following that, you're not really teaching your body to take in all the proper nutrients that it needs in a balanced meal.
Yeah.
And really, the balance is what always comes into it. And that's why we always say balance and portion. It's really important because you want to be able to have these things without worrying or like, you go somewhere and it's like, if you're not gluten-free, but you're gluten sensitive. And now I know gluten sensitive is like, a thing, and for some people it's serious, but for majority it's more of I got a stomach ache, but maybe because it's what you were eating.
Yeah, exactly.
And that gave you the stomach ache. It wasn't gluten. We always point to gluten. We point to all the things that we shouldn't be pointing to because we don't want to look at what we're really doing. Maybe it's because you ate the pint of ice cream after. So that's what I think is really important. You have to really think about, if you're, like we said, if you're celiac, yes, of course. But if you're not, it's just like the whole keto thing. Like when that whole thing came out, it was so big.
It's crazy.
The Atkins, it was huge. And no one was taking carbs in.
Yep.
Everyone was eating bacon and cheese and fat.
Yeah.
And then everyone's cholesterol went through the roof. I mean, the Atkins guy, I think he died at 70, which is so young. So, like, what are you doing? Like, why are people still following this, And now, again, when we talk about what we have in the store, we do make healthier versions. We make sure that we're not putting butter in. We make sure that we're not, putting the bad oil, or any oil actually, but really even anything like that. So it's really important that when you do these things, don't go to something just because it says gluten-free, like you said, the 700-calorie cookie, because that doesn't mean it's healthier. Fat-free, gluten-free, dairy-free, it usually just means they're substituting it with something else. And unless you know what they're substituting it with, you really have to be careful, because you'll not only gain weight, you could be living a very unhealthy life.
Yeah, and always too, if you're, if you are gluten-free and you're looking for something as a gluten-free alternative, like you said, always look out for the additives, like the oil. The oil is good, obviously, because it gives, like a bakery item, like the moisture that it needs. However, that oil is not going to be good for any progress that you want to make.
Right, exactly.
You always should look out for everything. If something's gluten-free, you might as well just be dairy-free and sugar-free, because you're,
unless you're celiac.
Think about it. If there's a gluten-free item, odds are the sugar, the fats, and everything else in it is not going to be great for you. If you have a sugar-free item, there's going to be a sweetener of some sort. But, the oil and the fats and the carbs, you also have to look out for. And it was funny, too, when I was actually doing some research about the keto diet, like you said, Atkins and everything. Do you know how it originated?
No, tell me.
The keto diet came about, everybody knows, well, not everybody, but like, it's a known thing in the health world that the keto diet's very high in fat, right?
Right.
So this is because, funny enough, another fun fact, we do a lot of fun facts, but I'm just a history buff by myself. But the history of the keto diet actually originated around a medical procedure that actually helped control seizure activity from epilepsy.
Wow.
Yeah, this is because
I heard that, but that's really interesting.
Some types of drug-resistant epilepsies that actually came about, they created the keto diet for, well, not the keto diet, but keto. Keto by itself came about to help control seizures as well as epilepsy, because it was found that a strict diet of approximately 70 to 80% fat, 5% carbs, and 15 to 25% proteins stabilize the metabolic processes occurring in the brain that, when untreated, could cause some type of seizure. So because of the high fat content, this also came as a shock, because the side effects of the keto diet just happened to be weight loss. So when people found out about that, a huge stigma arose around it, saying, let's make this into a diet. And that's how the popularity of the diet itself came about, because keto was gradually adopted into the fitness realm as a lifestyle to follow, because even if you didn't suffer from, seizures or any form of epilepsy, it was like, oh, I want to do that too. Almost like Ozempic.
I was just going to say that.
If you didn't suffer.
You just read my mind.
I saw your eyes. I was like, even if you don't suffer from diabetes, like people on Ozempic do, people are still like, oh, I want to get my hands on that, because a common result is weight loss. And I just thought that was funny when I was reading that. I was like, wow. There's a commonality here of people on Ozempic that shouldn't be on Ozempic are losing weight, because everybody wants to lose weight. So they're like, oh, they're doing Ozempic and they're losing weight. I want to do it too. But you don't have diabetes.
Exactly.
If you were on the keto diet originally, it's because you had some sort of epilepsy or seizures. And if you don't suffer from that, you still want to do it because you'll lose weight.
Right.
It's
exactly.
Funny.
And
It's not funny.
Again,
but
we
it's
talk about the
interesting.
bad side effects. Like, with keto, that was a big thing. What people didn't realize at the time, everyone's cholesterol, people were having
Yep.
heart attacks because everything was raising through the roof because it was
Yeah.
all bad fats,
Yep.
And I think that's really important because we're saying the same thing about Ozempic. We don't even know all the side effects yet or what's going to play a part. Like just like with the keto, no one knew
Yeah.
until years later.
Yeah, nobody knew
know?
until years later. It was something that they were doing just, in the medical field until
Yeah.
people got, word of this.
And when they did it, though, no one knew the side effects of
Yeah.
all the bad side effects as far as like the
Yeah.
heart, the cholesterol.
Yeah. Well, what is it? Ketones? What is
Yes,
that? For
the
anybody that
ketone.
doesn't know, what is that?
So basically, the ketones are in your urine, and
Only
it's fat.
thing I know about
It's
it is
fat.
you pee them out.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's basically fat, and that's why they would check to see, like, oh, am I in keto? Like it would turn like a color if you were, and that's just basically saying that your body's living off the fat, and
Yeah.
it's burning the fat.
Exactly. Because
Yeah.
like I stated earlier, like any normal diet that you follow would use the storage of sugar or glycogen
Right.
or carbs as your fuel. Whereas when you do the keto diet, they work solely off of nutrients and fats.
Right.
Because the high fat content from the keto diet, subscribes to the idea that fat is fuel.
Right.
So when you have a, surplus of it, once you become fat adapted almost to the diet, your body can utilize, and it will utilize, only fat for its fuel that it uses. When you consume fat, your body will break it down, use that for fuel instead of taking it from the body,
Exactly.
actually.
Which is what we just talked about
Yeah.
with the detox and what
Yeah.
we talked about with fasting.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. It takes from the stored fat. I preach that all the time. The thing
Yeah.
is, when we're talking about keto, you're putting so much bad fat in your body.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even giving your body the carbs to have energy. So it's
Yeah.
going directly to the fat. Now, what's changed so much, and like with our products, like where our fat in our keto is based on avocado, it's based on healthier fats.
Healthy
now,
fats.
believe it or not, you're not going to lose as fast when it's not as bad fat, but you're also not going to get sick,
True.
which is really important.
True.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier too, like my analogy that I said, about the healthy carbs is just enough gas to get you home.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I actually just thought of one too. Like, a normal diet is built for using carbs as fuel. The keto diet and the carnivore diet is used as, using the fats as fuel. Think of it as like the difference between, regular gasoline and then diesel. It's never do sort of keto.
Right,
never
yeah,
do a
yeah,
sort
right,
of keto
yeah,
diet
yeah.
because it's the worst of both worlds.
Then you're just
You know,
giving yourself high cholesterol, and
Then you're just
not
increasing the
losing
amount
anyway.
of fat that you ingest, and you're also just increasing the amount of carbs and sugar that you ingest. So
Right.
your body's going to be filled with fats, filled with carbs, filled with sugars, and that just leads to a whirlwind
Yeah.
of issues by itself.
I will tell you, everyone that I know that has lived by the keto, the worst part about it, which is, again, I think this is with not any, but a lot of things, like as soon as they go off it, they blow up.
Yep.
It's the carbs immediately
Yep.
blow them up because,
Yep.
first of all, they're probably eating it twice as much because haven't had them. And
Yeah.
when you don't have carbs and then you have them, all of a sudden you want them. But the other thing is your body's not used to it, and you immediately blow up with it. And I think that's the same thing when we even talk about the Ozempic. It's, or the Wegovy, or, it's basically when you go off of it, they say it's a prescription for life. Every doctor will tell you that now. In the beginning, they never told you that because they didn't want everyone to know, like, oh, yeah, you can go off it and you'll be fine. Now, everywhere you read, every doctor you speak to, they're like, no, it's a prescription for life because once you go off it, you're going to gain the weight back.
Wow.
You know?
Is that a money thing or is that health?
Which part?
Well, a prescription for life, because
Well,
obviously they're
prescription
making
for
money
life,
off.
I think-
It's not a one-time payment.
No, I don't. They're not saying they're giving you a prescription for life. What they're saying is once you go on it, if you want to continue to be thin for the rest of your life, no one's teaching you how to eat better. You're not really making any changes in your diet because you're just eating less. And most people on Ozempic, unfortunately, they don't even eat well. Like you will hear, they'll go for ice cream before food because they're still losing.
Yeah.
So at least before they were taking the shots, they were actually trying to eat healthy and be healthy and feel good. Now they're just thin and they're not even eating healthy. But the prescription for life really means that, like, once you go off of it, you're going to gain the weight back. So you're going to want to go right back on it.
Yeah.
And basically they're saying, just remember that you're doing that,
Yeah. The other
Once
thing
you go
is,
on
yeah.
it, basically you're going to be hooked.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is too, like Ozempic by itself obviously has its complications, but the other thing is too, like what we were talking about a few episodes back, like, the inflammation, like your gut health. Your gut is everything.
Yeah.
Like everything you put into your body, like you always say, you always think about everything that you put in your mouth before you put it there.
Yeah.
Everything that goes into your gut is processed through your body, through the organs, the bacteria in your gut. So the keto diet is directly linked to like constipation.
Yeah.
Because, it's low in fiber, fibrous foods. It's low in high fiber. And, that's like grains or any type of bran or anything like that has a lot of fiber in it. You're going to be severely constipated if you do a keto form diet because, by itself, I mean, a little TMI, but a lot of people don't really know, but the actual consistency of like stool is directly linked to the food that you eat. So when you have like, foods or anything like that that's actually healthy for your gut, you're going to go to the bathroom a lot easier, but when you do a keto diet, it's going to be not the best time.
Right. Yeah.
But
it's going to hurt.
I mean, a lot of people though, like that's, like you said, like we said a few episodes back, it's like a warning signal. If you have a lot of constipation and you have a lot of trouble going to the bathroom,
your body's telling you something.
Your body's telling you something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a big thing, I love that. That's a great point, and I think when we're talking about a lot of things, I was just looking when you said that with fiber, people don't realize fiber is carbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your body needs it.
Yeah.
And it needs it to process right, but it's like anything else. We don't want to overdo it, and that's why we always come back to the balance and the balance of the portioned meals, the portioned, having the carbs, the healthy fat, the protein, the fiber carbs. That's really all important,
What do we got in the store? The high fiber cookie.
Yeah.
And then the
gummy bites.
The gummy bites. So like those gummy bites, like would I eat those because I enjoy them or strictly for the fiber?
Both. So basically, you don't. If you were saying like, no, I don't have any problem going to the bathroom, I'd say don't eat the whole bag.
Well, how do you know? Like, I mean, like if you just like. Obviously, if you're struggling and you're very constipated, you'd know. But like,
well, women are different.
Is it just something that you should do on the norm?
The bathroom?
Like incorporate. No, I mean like, should you incorporate a high fiber thing like the gummy bites, like every other day, or
it really depends.
Or is, like you said, too much is too not always a good thing. So like. Somebody like me, I don't really keep track of fiber in my diet.
Yeah.
I just eat a lot of things that are very high protein, very high fiber by itself, but I don't actually.
But you never have a problem going to the bathroom.
So, how do you know?
You always tell me when you're in the house, I'm going to the bathroom.
I'm kidding. Well,
everyone likes to announce when they go to the bathroom.
No, but I guess what I'm asking is like, everybody always keeps in mind their protein. Everybody always keeps in mind their carbs. Like fiber is not really something that a lot of people keep in mind. So like, how would you like?
Because
why
people don't like to, especially I know this with women, but even people who are thinking about weight loss, it's like it's the type of carb, so they're always they worry about it. What I was going to say before that is really important is women don't go to the bathroom like men. So I have clients come in my office. They don't go for 3 or 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's a norm for women. It really is. So a lot of times I will tell them to do the gummies, and that will help them, or they'll do the high fiber cookie. All things that'll help, but it's really normal when they don't go that long. Like especially as you get older, your body changes.
Well, everything slows down.
Everything slows down. Exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So, a good thing that I've been telling a lot of people is just make sure they take, like a magnesium supplement because they really help. They really do for women if they're struggling. But, if you add in all these little things, you take a magnesium supplement, you do like the gummies or you do like, even like I always say do like a high fiber cereal with some blueberries. You will go every day or at least every other day, which is significant for women.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said before, just aside from your gut, like everything else, like your liver and your kidneys and everything, even your brain, Like I
Yes,
said before,
absolutely.
like, you know, the fuzzy thinking and,
Yep.
you know, mood swings even with the hormones and everything. Like,
Yep.
what is the gland that actually
Thyroid?
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
like even that. Doesn't that have a link to dairy, right? Like if somebody's dairy free or
They say it's like that has a, not really so.
like if you have a thyroid issue,
Mhm.
how does that affect like what you can eat if in terms of like gluten or dairy or anything?
It doesn't. Like
Oh.
I've had it for 30 years. I
Oh.
take Synthroid. I
Yeah,
got it
yeah.
when I had Joey,
Yeah.
when I was pregnant with Joey. But so basically, your thyroid runs your entire body. It runs your metabolism. It runs everything in your body. So it's a very important gland. It's
Yeah.
very important, that it's running sufficiently.
And
When
that's
people,
men and women?
yes,
Okay.
and when people, when it's not running sufficiently, you will not lose weight as fast. You'll lose your hair. You will have like very chappy skin. You will not go to the bathroom. You will just feel lethargic all the time. So that's when.
Is it like a blockage? Or?
No, it's just the way. It's just basically think of it's tired. Some people get tired faster than others. Some people never do. But it is it's very big. I think in the United States. I don't know about anywhere else, but I definitely know a lot of people have thyroid issues. Some people will blame their thyroid, and it's not because you go for a blood test, and they will tell you if you're thyroid
or a gland, right?
Yeah,
Or
it's you go for a blood test, and they will tell you if your thyroid is running properly.
Yeah.
And if it's not, they will give you a supplement like Synthroid. That's what I've been on forever.
Yeah.
And but I have taken the same dose for the last 30 years, and I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm meaning fine. They check it every 6 months.
Yeah.
Even though I've been on it for 30 years, but they make you go every 6 months just to make sure your levels.
Well, you're
are
also
right.
just fanatical with going to the doctor.
True.
Yeah.
But they do tell you come so they can check, make sure it doesn't change because it can fluctuate. A lot of people have their thyroid out because it
Does
could
that
have
affect
precancerous. It sure, when it's out, it affects everything. But what they do again is they're going to give you medicine to regulate your body. So it's when they give you the medicine like Synthroid, basically they're going to give you enough so that your body runs as if it had a thyroid.
You know what's funny is when you just said before, like the United States, obviously the percentages I'm sure are higher. But it's funny, I always think back to when you and Dad went to Italy and you told me you were like, because one of your favorite drinks, to cheat with is like a Diet Pepsi.
Right.
But when you texted me, you were like, they don't have Diet Pepsi in Italy. And I was like, oh, that's so funny. Why? They don't have anything diet over there.
Nope.
Because of the sugar and all the substitutes
They don't
and
have
everything.
any, and
They have regular,
everything,
but they don't have anything diet.
It's amazing.
Which is like almost like an oxymoron
It's to show
when you think
you,
about it.
like,
But like, why don't they have diet but they have regular? It's so unhealthy. No, it's because like aspartame and all that, right?
Yep.
But
And we were there for 10 days, and how much weight did Dad lose?
Well, you took him walking all over.
Well, that too, but I'm telling you,
basically
another
walked
big thing
across the
is their
ocean.
portions. I'll tell you a funny story because I'm so big on portions.
Yeah.
So every
Well,
time.
it's funny. You said the one time when we went to Fire Island even.
Yeah.
He
Because
loses all his
you're
weight.
walking everywhere. Plus, like, whenever we go out to dinner, even now, like, whenever we go anywhere, or if we're ordering in, he'll always say, what are we having? Because I'll always split. Never will get a full meal. So when we were in Italy, I said, we sat down the first night we were there to have dinner, and we were like, we're going to split this, and it was like a pasta, and it was so small. I was like, oh my God, no, we need our own meals because their portions are so small.
Yep. Well, they
because
also
they
have.
don't feed
isn't
you like
dinner
that.
like 6 different meals though?
No, it's not. And that's the thing. Their portions
Antipasti
are
and-
so small
Yeah.
because you're not supposed to eat like we eat here.
Yeah.
Everything here, like I said earlier, it's supersized.
Yeah, you go to
It's
Wendy's
too
and you
much
get a
food.
4 for $4.
Yeah,
4 for
right.
$4, and it's a
Exactly.
drink, a fry, a Coke, a drink, a fry, a burger, and a chicken nuggets
or whatever,
something.
or potato. Yeah.
Yeah, something.
It's like everything here, even when you go get pasta at dinner somewhere, it's so big.
Yeah. Isn't it funny that we say like the 4 for $4 is, a burger, fries, nuggets, and a drink, but you go to Italy and everybody always makes the joke, oh, well, they have 4-course meals. But the course meal is so small.
Yes, it's so small.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
And again, we always come back to portion sizes. Yeah. And portion size, that's why people can go to Italy, eat pasta every night, and not gain weight. Because they're so small.
Even the pizzas are so small.
Yeah, everything's so small.
Yeah.
And you have to remember what happens here, I notice a lot with people, is you'll have a plate. You'll go to a restaurant, they fill the plate. They just fill it.
Yep.
And you're full 10, whatever scoops into it or 5 minutes into it, 10 bites. And what happens is you keep eating because you're talking.
Yeah.
And you're socializing. And then you're just picking and you're eating. Everyone else is still eating, so you're just eating. Before you know it, the plate's gone, but you are like, you walk away from that table so stuffed.
Yep.
You're like, I can't eat another thing. How many times is like when we go out to eat, everyone says that?
Sickly full.
Except for me.
Sickly
because
full.
I will not eat my meal.
It's always because, too, you always say, like, well, we need an appetizer. And then you get an appetizer. Then you get your actual meal. It's always funny
food
how
on
many,
top of food. It's too much food.
It's never you either. It's actually sometimes you. You're always the one that says, like, oh, I can't even eat my meal because I had a piece of the appetizer.
And I never eat my meal. I literally, the last few times we went out, I bring it home.
Well, they put the bread in front of me, and I'm like, all right.
Yeah, you're done.
And
I like when
I'm tired before the appetizer even gets there.
Yeah, I know. That's what happens. That's why appetizer, unless it's your cheat night, and even if it is your cheat, you don't need that much food.
I know.
You know, I mean, you should be doing an appetizer most of the time. Always, yes. Yeah. But then if you eat your meal on top of it, and that's my point, and that's what people do, they end up eating it because it's there. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, true.
But if it was a smaller portion and you ate it, you would feel fine. You'd feel normal. You'd be like, oh, I feel good. Like I just had a meal and I feel good. And that's the way we're supposed to feel after eating.
True.
We're not supposed to feel stuffed like we can't eat another bite.
Yep. You're supposed to just feel like, oh, my hunger's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
And even if you get to the point where you're like, I feel like I could have ate more, that's okay.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Food for thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all we have for you today. We hope you enjoyed the episode.
Great. And please remember, always stop in Innovation at 8025 Jericho Turnpike, Woodbury, New York, or visit our website, innovationhealthymarket.com, or call 516-802-5055. We're open 7 days a week and are always there to help you with your shopping, orders, or weight loss needs. When you come in, ask for me, Jake. I will be happy to show you around the store, or if you're looking for a one-on-one plan, I can make your first free consultation appointment with Josephine. Thanks, everybody.
Have a great day.